What's going on, everyone? I'm back. Sorry for putting you guys through the torture of having to watch other people on YouTube for their analysis. Hopefully it's not going to happen anytime soon again. I'm back, and in today's video we're going to talk about the overall stock market. We're going to talk about a little bit what could happen this week. We're going to talk about how we absolutely timed Bitcoin's price pump perfectly. We made 50% on BITO. And that was a beautiful play. So congratulations to everyone that took that as well. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started with the video. So this week is pretty uneventful compared to like every other week where the Fed was speaking multiple times. So the only things are tomorrow we have Yellen speaking at 10 a.m. She speaks before the Senate Financial Committee. And then on Friday, we have the CPI data coming out. So the CPI data, the last time we had the CPI data coming out, everyone was very bearish on it. I believe we ended up pumping. So if people are going to be bearish again heading into the CPI data, we could see a bit of another friggin' pump move, really, right? Basically, to keep it short, Thursday night, you don't want to hold anything overnight in swings, because Friday morning, if we get good CPI data, if you're holding on to puts, those puts are going to be burnt, and vice versa. So just be careful about that. And now here are my thoughts for the SPY and the overall momentum of the stock market. So it's going to sound I'm going to sound like not many terms, in the way that I'm describing it is not going to sound very normal, but just do your best. Like, I'm going to try to do my best to explain, and yeah, just bear with me here. So currently, there's a few things to look at. We have to look at the chances of an up move, like the percentage chances of an up move, and the percentage chances of a down move. All right. We also have to be aware of the fact that currently this is a bull flag. The SPY is at a bull flag with basically at resistance. All right. So this 415 to 418 level is clear resistance, and the SPY is forming a bullish pattern into resistance. So that's not always the best sign, but I just want to lay out the framework. So now to add on to that, what do we see here? We see the MACD shifting and crossing above zero. So the signal line is crossing above zero, which is very, very bullish. Shows a lot of strength. Okay. So now what this is basically showing, right? So we have the macroeconomic outlook on the market. Everything looks terrible. The Fed is at basically like they don't have much else to do really except hope that things start turning over, and then then they would have to print more money. Where the U.S. government is in a lot of debt as well. So short term, the momentum of the MACD is moving upwards. We're at a bull flag at resistance. What is this telling me? All right, so I think the best way to explain this would be, imagine you're walking backwards up a hill. So there's a hill here, and you're walking backwards up the hill. And you're pulling something really, really heavy. You're pulling like a box up this hill. Oh man, it looks like a physics like Khan Academy. All right, so you're pulling this up, like this heavy thing up this hill, and the hill is very muddy. All right, so the hill is very muddy and you're pulling it up. So that's what I don't know how else to explain it, but that's what the market is basically doing. So they're trying to pull this up, but they're fighting against the incline of the hill, and they're also fighting against muddy floors. All right, so one false move, basically, like say for example you pulled it all the way over here. All right, one false move, it's very easy. It's basically for the stock market right now, it's much easier for this box to fall back down the hill. But it takes a lot of effort and diligence and focus to bring it up the hill. So that's what's going on right now. So they're trying to bring it up the hill. They're trying to break above these levels of resistance. And if they cannot do that, then the package or whatever this guy is carrying is going to fall down the hill. It's going to slip down the mud, and back down to square one, essentially, right? So that's what I feel with the market right now. So because of this analogy and stuff like that, the market is essentially, if you're bullish at this moment, you're basically thinking that, you know, we're going to have like a melt up. So when you're assuming you're either going to have a melt up or a melt down, the odds of that happening is not always very high, especially because we're at resistance, especially because, you know, we've been bull flagging here and we haven't broken up yet. So I do think that the upward potential for a move upwards is probably 30% compared to a break downwards from these levels. It's probably a 70% chance. So, honestly, it might even be like a 60-40, because the only reason why it's not like a very high chance that we'll just fall lower is because the momentum has really, really shifted. We have shifted from negative momentum to positive. So that's not something that, you know, we should take lightly. So this is really, really important. If we can break above 418, 417, 420 is on the table, and then 425, 430 is on the table, and that's going to be really, really good. I could be completely wrong in the short term. I'm completely fine with it, but these are, in my opinion, these are the likelihoods and the chances of an upward or downward move. You know, it makes sense, but again, you know, anything can happen intraday. If we have a decent close above any major level of resistance, then we're going to go up. Then this 30% goes to nothing. And this is wrong. And then we're going to continue moving upwards. But currently, right now, in this choppy price action, what I want to see for a bullish move is, obviously, I want to see a close above 416, 417 to be safe. Like a close, like a daily close above those levels. And then, really, you know, to be bearish again, I would want to see a close below 408. So we're in this nice little weird range, and that's why it's important not to get chopped out. There's going to be days and weeks like this where, you know, there's not a clear direction. So today, intraday, we had like a Bart Simpson, pattern where the market. Let me put this on 1 minute. So on a 1 minute, you know, we could see that the market shot up. It, you know, it basically showed like Bart Simpson's hair, and then literally it gave back all of its gains and shot right back down. So this is something that happens in the crypto markets, and to see it in the stock market is really funny. So, yeah, that's, you know, we're gonna have days like this. We're gonna have weeks like this. Don't overtrade. Don't lose your money trying to trade choppy price action. But yeah, these are my thoughts really for the overall market. We just need to look one level at a time. Depending on how we close on the SPY on the daily chart, we're either going to move up or down. The levels to the upside, 416, 417, then 420, then 425, then 430. But as we get higher and higher at these levels here, it makes more sense to be more bearish to start leaning into calls or leaning into puts, in my opinion. You know, from a risk reward standpoint for bulls, right? People were bullish down here at 380, 385. If we have upward resistance at 420, then the risk reward becomes very, very unfavorable to bears. To bulls, right? You want to buy at support, and you want to start going short at resistance. So we're closer to resistance than we are at support. You get it? So that's another reason why there's a much higher likelihood that we should be falling soon instead of going up. All right. So there's basically my thought process for that. Also, we have to take a look at Bitcoin. So that is another reason why the stock market can continue going up. On Bitcoin right now, look at this savagery. So back here when Bitcoin was trading at like 29.6, all throughout here, the Bitcoin market was looking very, very bearish. So I said, similar to how longer term bears in the legacy markets wanted the recent bounce in the S&P, because, you know, the S&P bounced all the way to 417, but Bitcoin could not break out of this range, right? So I said, you know, longer term bears wanted the recent bounce in the S&P. Longer term Bitcoin bears would also benefit from a short term bounce to 34 to 35K. I said from an RR standpoint, shorting this hole is equivalent to hoping this unnatural weakness continues. So what we were seeing basically out of the Bitcoin market was unnatural weakness. We were just very flat and very, very weak. It made no sense. The stock market was making highs and it was bouncing very nicely. Bitcoin was still trading below 30,000. So I was like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a bounce in Bitcoin. And because I have the thesis that they take turns bouncing, I applied that into BTO options, and those options ended up hitting for 50%. And they did really, really well. A lot of people made a lot of money. So now the issue with being bearish is that now Bitcoin is starting to show some life. And if Bitcoin can close above, so today, if Bitcoin could close above 30,600, 30,700, sorry, right? That is going to give steam for a potential close above 32,500 on Bitcoin for tomorrow. And then if we close above 32,500, then we can start testing this upper trend line over here at around 34 or 35,000. And that is going to be very, very interesting, because if the stock market starts doing badly and weak, but now Bitcoin is showing a lot of strength, that is going to be pretty interesting to see how the stock market responds to Bitcoin's strength. Will the stock market follow with Bitcoin up? Or will it like remain? So basically, if Bitcoin ends up over here, right, is the SPY going to end up falling to 400 and then breaking 400 and going to like 395? The odds of that happening is very, very slim. Does that make sense? So what is most likely going to end up happening with the stock market is, if Bitcoin is breaking above these levels of resistance, I don't see the SPY breaking below 405. And if it does, it's going to just remain above 400. It's going to trade within a range. And if it starts to really, really capitulate, then I am assuming that this move in the stock market and this bullish move in Bitcoin is basically hinting that the stock market doesn't believe in Bitcoin's move, or this could be the first steps of decoupling. Either way, very, very simply, just if that went over your head, it didn't make any sense to you, very, 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 very simply, if Bitcoin continues showing this strength, it's a high likelihood that the stock market is going to remain neutral or continue to show strength as well. It's going to be very, very unlikely that if Bitcoin is shooting up like this, that the stock market is going to start shooting down. All right. That's all it is. So there's my analysis. I hope I gave you guys like a good holistic view of the market and what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking. We're still holding. I mean, I'm still holding some BTO as well. Yeah, man. I mean, I think the markets are in a very interesting place, man. It's like it's a very, very interesting opportunity. This is historical times. So yeah, man, if you like the video, if you guys are interested in joining the Discord community where we share all of our ideas and thoughts and stuff like that, go ahead and join. The link is going to be in the channel description and in the comments. Aside from that, thank you guys so much for being patient and being patient with me and showing love and support. Thank you so much for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.